Greetings, and a warm welcome to this enlightening video where I strive to elucidate what genuinely constitutes a true innovation within the realm of gate photocells. I shall achieve this without any unnecessary preamble or fabricating innovations that frequently do not exist, merely presenting conventional photocells with a refreshed appearance. So the first question we ask ourselves is whether gate photocells are actually all the same. If you are a professional operating within the domain of automation, actively engaged in this sector, whether as an installer, distributor, or retailer, do not overlook this video. I am unveiling a genuinely groundbreaking innovation, and I assure you, I am not fabricating this. It is genuinely something unprecedented that has never been witnessed before. So let us proceed directly to the main point before we advance with the presentation and introduce you to this groundbreaking product. Let us take a brief moment to examine what is presently available in the market. Specifically, how do we currently assess photocells? What do the different commercial managers of the manufacturers introduce to us to convey that they have developed a novel photocell? In addition to providing it with a refreshed appearance, making them more slender, elongated, broader, and recessed square, aside from the diverse colors that are selected, what distinguishes them? Well, quite often, manufacturers focus on particular aspects that aren't genuinely essential. For example, low-profile photocells. These low-profile photocells arise from the manufacturer's needs rather than those of the installer, because in actuality a photocell receiver is fitted with a 4-wire cable. So whether you run a 4-wire cable or a 2-wire, one doesn't make a substantial difference. If we then consider that it simplifies the wiring, and when I have more than one pair of photocells, I don't have to do my famous series but put them all in parallel simply by addressing them, well, there is an advantage. However, at the installation level, it's not that significant. That is, as long as we are talking about installers. If we're talking about my cousin, then it's a completely different matter. Another aspect that certain salespeople, especially those with a somewhat more technically inclined disposition, might frequently emphasize. You see, they begin to elaborate on the intricacies of infrared modulation, with explanations reminiscent of Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, all of which hold little significance because when it comes to the practicalities of installation, it doesn't alter anything. The lenses of the photocells. We have recently worked on the lens, and consequently, we now possess a lens that effectively channels the infrared, thereby extending the range. Indeed, all well and good, but ultimately, they don't significantly alter the overall narrative much. What is the truth? The truth is that the technology of traditional photocells is quite mature. Indeed, very mature. This does not mean that traditional photocells, those receiver and transmitter ones, are not suitable. They are perfectly adequate in 90% of situations, with no complications whatsoever. Therefore, when we compare high-quality photocells from any given manufacturer, whether it be a producer of automation systems or electronic devices, the photocells are indeed reliable and operate seamlessly without causing any specific difficulties. We are certainly not criticizing the photocell product. We are merely indicating that when we are introduced to yet another new photocell, the manufacturer has simply modified its appearance and is endeavoring with bus technology and various other strategies to make a photocell from brand X non-interchangeable with a photocell from brand Y, logically to retain the customer base. Nevertheless, it cannot be presented as a technological advancement and, above all, as something that aids the installer or assists us in marketing professional products. Otherwise, we continue to assert that the fault lies with those who sell online because they offer photocells at a significantly reduced cost. We are keenly aware that this is no longer the dominant situation because nowadays everyone, including numerous retailers worldwide, offers photocells over the counter for €9.50. Therefore, the narrative that those who sell online are akin to pirates, while those who sell over the counter are superior, is now outdated. So, What specific scenarios are we going to address now that we are examining this product? Well, we are going to focus on the situation of the road barrier because road barriers frequently have the capability of wiring from only one side. I am not referring to reflective photocells, otherwise it wouldn't constitute a technological advancement. Another scenario is when I have a swing gate. Perhaps I need to install internal photocells, there is a pathway on the right and left of the garden, and I need to install posts. Or a sliding gate without ducting provision, meaning I am unable to pass wires to the opposite side. It is already exceedingly challenging to bring power to the point where the sliding motor is, let alone contemplating digging into reinforced concrete, because underneath there is an entire foundation to support the gate, which is indeed very challenging. Even incorporating an additional pair of photocells into an already existing system necessitates running wires on both sides, and in certain instances, this can be rather inconvenient. Instead, these are the scenarios we have observed that pertain to opening, or rather, safety. We can examine situations that involve opening and control, thus always within the context of the road barrier or an access point where both pedestrian and vehicular access is required. For example, if I install a look detector, I can facilitate vehicular access but not pedestrian access. With infrared radar doors, I am unable to adjust them precisely at the exact point I desire. A hands-free access system invariably comes to mind, for instance, in automatic doors for waiters entering and exiting the kitchen with their hands occupied, necessitating something more accurate and reliable. Perhaps in a compact kitchen where infrared technology cannot be installed because it would perpetually open the door, something more precise and dependable needs to be implemented. Here is the accurate term, precise. What exactly is this system? It is OPTIGATE. OPTIGATE is essentially a laser photocell, meaning we refer to it in the singular form because it is a single photocell. Thus, it does not require a separate receiver and transmitter. This effectively resolves the issue of wiring on one side and also tackles the problem associated with the reflective mirror of the catadioptric on the opposite side in reflex systems. Consequently, I only need to bring the wiring from one side. Then, the laser technology, through the time of flight calculation, means that the photocell essentially emits a laser beam. I am simplifying it considerably, but to make it comprehensible, there is no necessity to delve deeply into the technical intricacies. We need to construct. They already exist, so we do not need to know how they are constructed. We need to understand more or less how they function. So, how does it operate? A laser beam is emitted, and when it is reflected, the photocell measures the time elapsed between the emission and the return, and it can determine the distance of that object. If the measured distance is shorter than the predetermined one, for example, if it was configured at 6 meters, but it returns at a velocity suggesting the object is merely 3 meters away, it signifies that this infrared beam has been disrupted. Consequently, the photocell performs its function, opens the contact, and communicates to the control unit a command or any required action that an object or individual has traversed. Thus, it is an exceedingly precise technology. You have observed its application numerous times, even if you haven't been aware, whenever you take measurements somewhere employing a laser measure. When you utilize a laser measuring device, you are essentially employing the identical technology, albeit with a measuring instrument. You see, it is exceptionally effective, precise, and surgical, and therefore it can be applied in a multitude of different fields. It is not the case that we will never utilize traditional photocells again simply because laser photocells have come into existence, but they do indeed resolve a substantial portion of issues that sometimes cannot even be addressed with reflex systems. Reflex systems encounter the problem of the reflective mirror, as you are all aware, whether you have sold them or utilized them. There are numerous instances where, regrettably, the reflective mirror becomes distorted due to humidity, dust, or tarnishing, and so forth, which impacts the returning infrared signal. The returning infrared is specifically designed in a particular manner. Otherwise, the reflex would capture anything like the sun, clouds, or birds. This issue with the reflective mirror of the cathodioptric, which essentially becomes dirty, is a problem that affects this technology. It has been excellent and has served us well up until now, but it is becoming a technology that we will likely, or rather certainly, phase out over time as we begin to adopt laser photocells. To assist you in comprehending a bit more thoroughly, I have crafted this diagram. What does it illustrate? It illustrates the present-day technologies of photocells and their respective positioning. For example, the reflex is situated in the quadrant where wiring is absent, so there is wiring solely on one side, which is advantageous, yet there are reflection complications. In the meantime, the conventional photocells located at the bottom right are situated in the quadrant where there is wiring present on both sides, yet there are no complications with the mirror. Therefore, if I am able to effortlessly run wires from one side to the other, I proceed to install the traditional photocells, and that concludes the task. If perhaps I need to add them, even if I have the possibility to run the wires, I need to do a cost-benefit analysis because, for instance, it might take me a minute to run the wires from one side because I'm on the side of the control unit, but to go around to the other side, it might take me half a day. In that case, it might be better to install a laser photocell which operates in the same way as traditional photocells and perhaps even works better. What does the OPTIGATE do? It is situated within the upper right-hand cavity, which signifies that I do not have the wiring, or rather, the wiring exists solely on one side, yet I encounter no difficulties with the reflective mirror. Consequently, it is essentially a reflex photocell on steroids. It's an improved reflex photocell that does not require a reflective mirror, thereby resolving numerous problems. I am able to use it both as a safety photocell and as an opening command because I will later demonstrate its functionality in other videos. You will observe that I have various types of configurations so that it can be adapted practically anywhere. Nonetheless, if you are curious and wish to view the product, you can effortlessly visit our website, which is written as ugateshop.it. Type in the search bar above, as you can see here on the smartphone in the image, OPTIGATE, and the product will appear. You can visit it and explore its features. In the event that you happen to be a retailer or distributor, I highly recommend reaching out to us. We offer bespoke commercial solutions that are not readily available on the website. Indeed, and therefore, both for the OPTIGATE and for the other products we provide, I advise you to send us an email at com.ugateshop.it. With an email, we can establish direct communication, and then subsequently, we will discuss privately so that the commercial terms agreed upon remain confidential between us. That concludes this video. I bid you farewell and wish you all the very best.